Hello and welcome to episode 19 of Hybrid Fitness Report. My name's Paul Reynolds.
My name's Jude Reynolds.
And we are 2 days back from Vancouver and several hours short of needing to release this podcast. So apologies in advance. This might not look as brilliantly smooth as it usually does because we've got no time to edit anything. So we're just going to be incredible straight away and just nail it totally.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we already have. Superb. Okay, so today we're going to be focused mainly on Hyrox Vancouver, where we've just been. Before that, we'll have a little look at the results out of Hyrox in Stockholm. Before we then talk about the two big Hyrox events over the weekend, I want to give big recognition to WoDLETE. So Hybrid Fitness Report is sponsored by WoDLETE, a UK-based sports clothing company founded by an Ironman athlete, designed for functional fitness, hybrid and endurance sports. Ready for training and race day. If you need brand name performance and quality from your clothing without brand name markups in price, you need WoDLETE. For free delivery on all UK orders over £50 and to see their autumn-winter range, go to wodlete.co.uk. That's WODLETE.co.uk. And also for 20% off your order, that's 20% off each of your orders, please use code HFRPOD20. And now let's get into the main part of our pod today. We're going to be dispensing with some of the other things that we do on most of our podcasts, so it's just this big event review really. But first of all, Jude, the one that we weren't at over the weekend, because it was about 6,000 miles away from where we were, what was going on at Hyrox in Stockholm?
So some really, really good times there for both men and women. Namely in the men you had, which stands out, 6 athletes coming under the 56-minute mark.
Which men's pro.
The men's pro solos division. 6 athletes coming in under the 56 mark. You got from 6 upwards: Sebastian Iverson, Alan Cow, Luke Greer, Alan Ploy, Paul Windle. I might pronounce that wrong, but those are the 6 athletes came in under 56. Really impressive. And then in my age group, I always like to give a shout out to those in my age group that are doing really well. You've got Jacques and you've got Harvey, both of them coming in with a 57 time each. So they're both in the sort of top 6 in the world for the 16 to 24. So they did really, really well there. As well, there was a really namely woman, or a very impressive woman there, Emily Darman, who came in the pro women division solos doing 59.46. I think she's either the 5th or the 6th woman to have ever done that. And she's super young, a new Nike athlete. She's been away from racing for a little bit, so it was a sort of return race that was really, really impressive from her. And then on the pro men double side, we had one sort of standout time, which is that same Sebastian Iverson that I just mentioned coming in under 56 with Gustav Cordua, who's in my age, who also did insanely well in the pro men division coming in at 56. He then dropped a 49.37. So the 2 Danes doing really, really well in that division there. So those are sort of the notable times out of Stockholm. And then sort of before we get into our race, the notable times with the pro men, the winner with Jack Driscoll, Ryan Douglas and Dawson Miller coming underneath him in the 2nd and 3rd position, Isaac Sanderson and myself rounding out the top 5.
What was Jack's winning time?
55.23.
Right.
So he was I was talking to him before the race. We're warming up on the bikes, and I think this is his 3rd American win in a row. He's been racing a bunch recently because American races are all really close together. And then it then goes over to the Europe and everywhere else, basically. So if you're in America and you want 2 average times and a couple don't go your way, you've got to fit a lot in a not very long period of time, in a very short period of time.
You got Phoenix next year. There's a big gap then before Miami, isn't there?
Yeah. So he did an insane amount of races, and really well done to him. And then it was really cool to meet up with athletes like Ryan Douglas again, who came 2nd in the Worlds in my age group last year in Chicago. So that was awesome to meet with people like him.
The top 3 was a great race to watch. Jack, Ryan, and Dawson were together basically most of the first 6-7 stations.
Because you and Mum were watching my race, right? And I was in the same wave as those 3, a bit set back, but I was really jealous as I was running round We'll sort of get more into this in a second. Running around the venue during my race and hearing how consecutive they were, or how close together they were coming into each station when the MC was talking, and I heard that, and I was like, if I was a spectator right now, I'd be having a great time.
It was a great watch. There was no separating them. I mean, Dawson got some separation on the farmers' carry, so as late as station 6 out of 8, Dawson had a good lead, and so it was quite a big surprise to see those final times, because by the time they were on the warbles, for more than a couple of minutes, I was paying attention to Jude then, so I didn't really see what they did. Speaking of which,
yes, yeah. So I was going to want to do yours first. Okay. So it's sort of, we both did Vancouver. We both were reasonably happy with our times. But more specifically, if you want to sort of run through how your race went first.
Yeah, I think we're both extremely happy with our time. So we both PR'd. I've only done one. I was going to say pro singles. I'm never going to do a pro singles. I'd done one singles before.
Yeah,
which was the Open in Warsaw when I did 137.51, 57, 137.57 in Warsaw, which I was really happy at the time because I was coming off being big and operated on and unfit and all kinds of things. So I was just hoping for something under 2 hours.
Which was ridiculous. But I told you going into that race that I've seen the lack of training people who come in under 2 hours. Some people are amazingly, and they come from a position where they've had to do sort of not much training or a lot of training to get under 2 hours. But you are a lot fitter than the people that I know that have gotten under 2 hours. So I knew on the cards for you was under 140.
Okay.
I just didn't know how far under 140.
Okay. So not that far, but I was happy with that. So this race, I was looking for something under 134. I managed to tweak my knee a little bit in the week leading up to it, and my left hamstring's rubbish anyway, so I wasn't particularly hopeful. So I was in fact incredibly happy to come away with a 131.55, which is what I ended up with on Saturday. I was quite specific. I spoke about it all in detail with Jude about the pace I wanted to do everything at and how many breaks and where I was going to be taking breaks in all the different stations. So, for example, on the ski, I knew I was going to do something between 2:15 and 2:20. And if I felt great, it was going to be nearer 2:15. If I didn't feel great, it was going to be more like 2:20. Just things like that. And on the sled push, basically Jude recommended I take 2 breathers in the middle and then breathers at each end. So again, didn't matter how I felt, I stopped twice on each length. So there are 4 lengths on the sled push.
How did the push feel?
So I was going to say quote of the week. We weren't going to do quote of the week, but the quote of the week is actually me.
Right. You're quoting yourself.
I am quoting myself.
Isn't that a bit?
It is a little bit.
Okay.
But I'm going to quote myself and give myself that honor because my quote is wow, which is what I said to Jude after the 3rd length. Because the sled push, this is my first time with the new turf.
It was that quote, by the way, came from when I was videoing you, and I zoomed right into your face at the perfect moment. As you turned around at the end, just looked right into the camera, just mouthed that, and I got it right on video. It was great. Yes.
Yeah, I was like, this is blimmin' hard.
Harder than the previous turf, you think?
Harder than more easily. Well, the times bear it out. My push time, bearing in mind I'm a little bit stronger than I was 8 months ago at Warsaw, my push time was about 40 seconds slower.
Yeah.
It was much easier. Now, the other thing is at Warsaw, I had so much adrenaline. I thought, hey, sled push, this is great. This is fun. I can do this really quickly. So I did it. And I thought my 3rd length in Warsaw was my 4th length. So I did it unbroken and basically raced the guy next to me, which was really stupid. So maybe that's why my time was better in Warsaw, and this was more representative of what I should be doing.
Because you didn't pace it then, and you did pace it this time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though I did almost have an argument with you, not an argument with you, but I was asking whether I was done, and you were like, "No, you've got one more length," and I'm really one more. You're like, "Yes." I didn't believe you, so I checked with the judge, and they agreed that I still had one more length to go. And I'm like,
on both sleds, you actually had the
really,
yeah.
It's the problem. So that the laps in Vancouver were great. It was a 2-lapper. I can count to 2 when I'm working out. I get horrendous race brain. I can count to 2, but anything over 2, I'm sunk. So the fact that the sleds are all 4-length things, it's just a nightmare. So anyway, so the sled pull didn't feel hard, but I was more out of breath doing it, so that was kind of annoying. Burpee broad jumps, again, new strategy, and I've done it a load. Before Warsaw, I'd done like 15 burpee broad jumps in my life, decided they were horrible, and that was that. Whereas I've done quite a lot over the last 6 months. So although my time was only about a minute quicker on that station, it was a lot more controlled, and I came out with a functioning.
Because your strategy changed from Warsaw to Vancouver, didn't it? With the burpees, with the breathing.
Yeah. So it was very specifically. I was just giving myself 2 breaths in between, so 2 breaths rest at the bottom of each collapsed burpee before the broad jump.
Yeah.
And speaking of broad jumps.
Oh, great.
Speaking of broad jumps, I've got bad hamstring and a dodgy knee, and my actual jumping was just as long as Jude's was.
Well, I have my share of excuses when it comes to my turn as to why I wasn't aggressive with them.
I wasn't being aggressive either. You have an injury, I have an injury. We're both injured, and
mine's better though.
Yours injury's better.
Yeah,
it's better. How's your injury better?
Better because it's worse.
Get out of here. I have the relentless onward march of decrepitude holding me back, as well as 2 specific injuries. You've just got my back hurts a bit.
A lot of it, yeah.
A lot of it, so that was that. The row, again, I knew what pace I was going to do, and I wasn't relaxing on the row, but I wasn't trying too much. That was like a 2:06. Farmer's carry was all about
2:06 per 500.
Thank you.
What was your overall split for that? Like high 4s?
4.5.
4.5.
Including running in and out.
Yeah.
That was the other thing, is Vancouver had a massive rock zone. And what I felt good about, particularly at Vancouver, was that although I don't really run very well at all, I was overtaking so many people in the rock zone because people would get into the rock zone, and to them, either coming into a station or going out of their station, it obviously felt to them like I've here, or I've finished and I don't have to start running yet. But when you've got like 30 odd yards in some cases between the exit of your station and the out, or the in and the entrance to your station, it's like people were losing so much time. I also saw more in Vancouver than Warsaw, people just completely done. So there's several medical incidents and quite a few people come hanging over the railing by the drink station. So I don't know, something dodgy in the air, but it affected you as well.
Yeah.
So Farm's carry was great. Did that unbroken, which I was extremely happy about. Lunges in Warsaw is where I was crying for my mummy, basically. That was so awful and such a lot of pain, and I was hanging on to the fence, and it was embarrassing
to watch.
Well, you stayed there and you just grinned at me like I was some total stranger. He gave up helping me and just started laughing at me at Warsaw.
Again, not true, but
really again, not true. That's the other thing I'm true on here. No, it was a very specific strategy. And once you practice it for a while, even with Sims, you get a sense for what you're capable of, right? So it was like, okay, I'm gonna go quickly down and up, and then I'm gonna kind of take a breath at the top, or 2 breaths at the top, and then again, even if I feel good, I'm still going to keep 2 breaths at the top. And then if on the last 20 yards I feel strong, I can speed up. Of course, I didn't feel strong at all in the last 20 yards, and I didn't speed up, but it was fine because I beat my last time handily. So I was pleased with that. Again, it's all about understanding before the race roughly what you're capable of, and not letting adrenaline make you go quicker, which ruins the next part of the race, and also not letting discouragement slow you down, going, because actually I can do better than this. The planning helps a lot, except with the wall balls, which continues to be my nemesis. Apparently,
you and a lot of Elite 15 athletes, by the way.
Me and a lot of Elite 15 athletes.
You're in good company.
Have wall balls as our nemesis. It just doesn't particularly help when Jude's around, because he doesn't have it as his nemesis. And it's like he was going on about how easy it was, because he's so used to throwing half-a-ton boulders up on a wall in training. But I was planning on doing 6 reps and then a 10-second break, and then repeating that 16 times. In the end, I just broke a lot and bent over double quite a lot.
Took a knee a few times out of respect.
Out of respect for the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. Quite a few times.
What's staggering though, so it took me about 8 minutes,
which is better than Warsaw.
But it's better than Warsaw, and I'm thinking I must have blanked out how bad Warsaw felt, because to be that bad a few days ago and be a minute and a half better than how bad Warsaw was, it's horrible. And then I limped over the line and collapsed over it and was very, very happy.
But a 6 minute and 2 second PR in how long?
8 months.
8 months. But going back to your rock zone thing, what I was thinking when I saw that was I have a lot of footage of you overtaking people purely in that rock zone, but almost every time you came into a station, there was someone that you'd overtake. I just think, although there are pros and cons of having a big rock zone and a smaller running track, you run the same distance in a Hyrox either way. It's all mental. Like, if that distance in the rock zone was shifted out onto the running track, the same people that were walking there wouldn't be walking.
Right.
So that's why some of the venues are considered, in inverted commas, quicker than others. Because for a lot of people, mentally, when they get into the rock zone, it's a reset. And whilst they feel like they need it because the option is there, a lot of the time, if they just didn't have that option and they were still on the running track, they wouldn't have actually done that because they wouldn't have had the opportunity to choose to reset. So just little things like that. But yeah, that was really cool to spectate. I don't usually get to watch the Hyrox. I'm always doing it. So it was cool to get to watch that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did you get on? Well, I know how you got on.
Yeah.
How did it feel?
It felt all right. So similar to you leading up, I've picked up a bit of an issue where I've noticed as soon as I land with my left foot, or put almost any pressure through it whatsoever, I get shooting pains up my left side and my lower back. So that's kind of made me really worried leading up to the race. And
which you didn't mention at all.
No.
Until we were back at the hotel 2 hours after my race, and I was enjoying a couple of beers. And then that's when Jude decided to mention, by the way, I'm injured. I'm like, what?
Because it's not like I told everyone and I just wasn't holding out. Like, I told no one. As soon as I speak it out loud or even accept it for myself, it becomes reality. Right. I've heard people say that before. And for me, that's like similar with a lot of things. Like, injury has been, is, and will always be my biggest fear, just because of how much I enjoy training and everything like that. And so to know that it's finally here after so long is like, it was really hard to sort of accept that. And obviously, we spent all this money going to Vancouver. Mm-hmm. I trained this long and this hard to get to the position for like my A race to finish 2025. It had to be really bad for me to not to at least show up and try. So decided that although it wasn't going to get any better in the next 3 hours, I thought, let's risk it. Let's take some ibuprofen. If it's still painful with the ibuprofen, don't recommend this, by the way. If it's still painful despite the undisclosed amount of ibuprofen that I did take.
Just for an A race. Just for an A race. Never for any other race. Don't do it.
If it got to the point where it was painful,
bad
as
recovery, medically inappropriate. Sorry, carry on.
Other than that, if it did get to the point where it was, like a 7, 8 out of 10, despite that amount of ibuprofen, then I would just have to stop because at that point, long-term damage is almost inevitable. So considering that, I still went. Warming up did not feel good. Running on the
sorry, can I just so me and Jude's mum were watching we were stood by the only bit the spectators could get to in the warm-up area was the end of the 2 bits of sled turf.
Oh yes, the sled in the warm-up area.
So we were watching a bunch of pro guys, and a lot of them were treating it as if it was the old turf where the technique can be a little bit dodgy and you can kind of plow your way through, but these guys were actually plowing. So bearing in mind the turf is now longer, so the sled sticks more easily, these guys were kind of launching into it and lifting up the front end, lifting up the back end, which drove the front end of the sled into the turf and basically made it stick completely. So because they didn't tape down the warm-up area very well on the turf, the turf was ruching anyway, which made it very hard to push. And then when you've got bad techniques, you're lifting the end with your shoulders, one end of your shoulder, driving the front into the turf. These things weren't moving, but these guys, because of course the pro division guys, some of them are like massive gym bros who are like, we're going to do a Hyrox and kick its butt. And some of them were just having their butts kicked quite badly. Yeah. Whereas when we saw Jude come in, I was kind of afraid of what it was going to be like because it was so bad. And because it was clearly such a bad bit of turf, he kind of stopped less than halfway down the track, turned around, went back again, and warmed up something else instead.
Yeah, it didn't worry me, but it didn't scare me, just in the sense that I've had it in the past where the warm-up area feels completely different to the actual race, which is really, I think Hyrox needs to do something about that personally. The warm-up area, it was regular pro weight on the sled and I could barely push it. And that's me being 98 kg and strong for sort of a Hyrox athlete. I can barely push the sled. If that's the case in the warm-up area, when I then go into the race itself, which I'll get to in a second, and the sled feels good, not easy, but smooth. You can't have that much disparity between warming up 10 minutes previously and then racing. But
it was funny though, on the particular lane you were on, which was one of the two worst lanes in the warm-up area, there was a guy who came after you who wasn't having the discouragement. He was full of adrenaline, and he was absolutely shattered. He did 2 unbroken lengths of sled push in the warm-up area.
I mean, respect to that in its own, because that it was hard.
He had the most impressive looking shoulders of anyone I've ever seen, because he was redlining in warm-ups. It was great.
Was he the guy? Because I left and there was a guy behind me that was like, "Is this easier than the previous turf?" And I was like, "No." I think that might have been the guy, and then that might have gotten him fired up.
Yeah, definitely got him fired up.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the warm-up area. Not the most encouraging one. No. Running didn't feel great. Sleds didn't feel great. Wall balls didn't feel great. So I was like, okay, odds are I'm going to race this. And if I get lucky, hopefully there won't be that many people in my age group, and I'll go around with like a hour 2, hour 3, and somehow
that's what you were thinking beforehand.
Yeah, beforehand I was like, I'll crawl by in like a 103, win my age group, get a white flag, and just don't mention the time.
Right.
No, I have to mention the time. I always mention it no matter what. But yeah, wasn't the most encouraged, but went into the race, and from the start I felt it. Oh, not to also forget the fact that I had about 4 mushroom coffees.
I don't know. He forgot his caffeine. Oh, was it Coffee Italia? With their Lion's Mane mushroom coffee, and so he had 4 samples.
Well, so we went back into the venue 90 minutes before my race, as you do, and I was watching the sled, and I was leaning over the barrier like 70 minutes before my race, almost falling asleep. I was like, right, this can't happen. If it's gonna hurt, I want to at least have enough adrenaline and or caffeine in my system to at least null it for the first half of the race. So I was like, what am I gonna do? Looked for Red Bull, couldn't find any. Looked for those My Protein gels or shots that Hyrox sometimes has it. Yeah, caffeine. Nothing, they didn't have it.
Nothing.
And so he was like, "Do you want a coffee?" I was like, "No, it's fine." Bear in mind, I had like 2 an hour earlier. Anyway, you were like, "Do you want a coffee?" I was like, "No." You went off. I was assuming, I was like, "Oh, I think he's gone to get some."
Yep.
Came back, and you had these 4 shots of espresso. And it was just before I was going to warm up. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to risk something.
This is after the mushroom coffee.
This is after the mushroom. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I had mushroom in lines for a coffee. Then I had whatever it was. My stomach didn't agree with it.
No.
Then I had 4 shots of coffee. I had 2 sips. I was like, "This is enough." And then you didn't say anything. So I was like, next the other 2. So I
did tell him, by the way, bear in mind you've just had a couple of coffees and there's 4 shots in here, so you don't have to drink all of it.
I felt bad wasting it. And this was my wildcard race after all.
Your wildcard race?
Yeah, my back is in pieces. I was like, whatever. So I took that. From the start, I felt my back, so I wasn't really hopeful. I went around, I was like, okay, I can still keep up a decent pace. I'm not going to run at what I was hoping to, which is around a 3:45 to 47. I'm not going to do that. I feel like that's just going to push it over the edge a little bit. So
you did in fact run a what?
350 dead, I think.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Runs with 350 averages, proper average, not the rocks. Not the rocks fit isn't accurate, but I think my average pace around the running track itself was 337. But if you include the rock zone, it was 350.
Right.
So running had to tailor that back a little bit. The ski was okay. I FaceTimed Zaid, one of my friends, beforehand, and he's had a similar issue. And he said, if you get to the ski, you're fine. Now, I doubt we have the same injury, but he seemed very convinced that if I got to the ski, I'd be fine. And the ski was actually okay. Hinging wasn't too bad. Now, it's not great, but it wasn't too bad during the race. So that was, I think, 146.8 per 500 average. So I held that. That was fine. That's what I normally try and hold. Sled push felt great. Because that was it. It's sort of everything's really braced in that position. You're leant over, your core's firm, everything's locked into place. So my lower back didn't have too much issue with that. My sled push was like a 235, I think, 230 mid, something like that. 1 break on each length push, and I kept conscious with my brake. So in Worlds, I would sort of lose focus, drift off, and before I knew it, I'd rested for 12 seconds before I started pushing again. Here, I didn't once take longer than 8 seconds to start moving the sled again. So it was usually count to 5 in my head. As soon as I hit 5 in my head, set up, push, and that was the same for every length. So push went really well. Coming off, you've got sled legs as you do. So it was just a little bit of that, but it wasn't too bad. Pull felt amazing. Pull I did in, I think, 3:21.
Pull you overtook 4 or 5 people?
Yeah, I came. I forgot now. I think I came. I overtook 6 or 7.
Right.
Looked at the footage and I overtook 6, 7 people on the pool. 2 guys next to me really struggling with it. But I just loved it. I loved the pool. 321.
Why? Why do you love the pool? Or is it just that everyone hates it more than you do?
No, I think it's because where my weight holds me back in other areas,
Right.
now all I have to do is like lean back and just walk, and it's fine. Whereas a lot of people have to put a lot more effort because they have
Right.
less weight behind them.
Right.
So my weight helps me with this exercise. I love the pool. Coming off the pool also felt really good. What was different between us was I talked to you after was that when you pull, you crouch down really low, and so you expend so much energy doing the same movement that I do.
Right.
So when I pull, I lean back and I step backwards to the back of the box. When you pull, you squat almost ass to grass, stand up out of the squat, and then start moving back.
I'm a big ass to grass guy.
Great mobility. Great mobility. Just don't use it there.
Okay.
Yeah. So you came off feeling really gassed because of that sort of explosive movement that you did after every pull.
I was toast after the pull.
Yeah. But yeah, so the pull was fine. Loved that. And then always after the pull, I'm like, oh no. Because next up is burpees, which I hate. But I've been doing a load for the past 6, 7 months with the hybrid engine. Anthony Perricini loves his burpees. So he programs a lot of them.
Coaching program, yeah.
Yeah, so I do a lot of them. So I was hopeful. I was like, this might be the first time I break 3 minutes. I'm going to hope so. So I got around the burpees in 2:53, which I was happy with. Hadn't broken 3 before. I got 3:23, 3:46, 3 flat, and then 2:53 on my burpees. Right. So I think I've finally gotten them. I've been doing to the point where I've done multiple sets of no of 10 plus minutes of burpees.
Walking in front of camera and awkward
on the audio. That didn't really make sense. BS. Yeah, so I've done a lot of burpees. That went really well. Coming off of that, the run felt all right, which for me was the biggest thing. Like if burpees go well, oh dear, because the run's probably going to feel awful. Neither of them did. With the burpees, the one thing was, here comes my excuse, was that in the warm-up area, other than running, felt the worst was landing after a broad jump. And so the broad jump, I didn't feel I could be as explosive as I wanted to, just because that landing didn't feel great.
You got out jumped by your dad, so I think
no,
tells its own story. I slightly out jumped you.
so that's the beef, is that we both jumped 2 boxes. He thinks he jumped a little bit further than me.
Well, I'm 4 inches shorter than you, so I basically jumped further than you.
That doesn't make sense.
Which I'm leading up to a little bit more of your excuse of the fact that you were so completely and utterly crippled at the point that you could only jump as far as I could.
Yeah. So
you're welcome.
Thank you. That's my excuse for the burpees. And then, run didn't feel awful after, so that's good. I'm thinking that's because if I hadn't been cautious of my lower back, I would have gone quicker, and therefore the run would have felt harder because I would have been more tired.
There is a case to be made that having the injury didn't. I mean, it must have held your time a little bit, but it probably didn't hold it back a lot because the way you compensated helped you in the end.
Yeah, so it was just enforced pacing, basically.
Yeah.
And then coming off of that, I went into the row and held what I wanted to hold, which was a 46 to a 47. I don't know my exact average. I think I came out with a 46 high on that. So my ski and row are very similar. Although I'm better at the row, fresh, the ski's first and the row is fifth. So naturally, if I'm a little bit better at the row, it's probably going to sort of get a little bit slower as I'm 30 minutes into a race at that point, as opposed to 4 when I'm at the skier. So yeah, that station went well. Again, coming off, I sort of James Kelly'd out the rock zone there. I felt great coming off the rower. That was fine. Farmers as well.
Farmers, at this point, you were in 5th, but you got overtaken in Farmers, which is an unusual sight. I almost never, you were always the one doing the overtaking.
Austin.
Yeah.
So, one of the athletes, Austin Azar, who I knew coming into the race, me and him were back and forth almost the whole time.
Yeah.
Up until the wall balls. So did he overtake me? Was he on? No, he came in a lap after me.
Sorry, he didn't overtake you. He came in ahead of you, and he left a little bit more ahead of you than he came in.
Did he?
I was expecting...
No, that was the lunges. On the farmer's carry.
Sorry, yeah, I'm thinking.
I came in before him.
Yeah.
I did a lap, and then his first lap was quicker than my second lap.
Right,
which is
right,
what you said.
Right.
Yeah. So it came out the farmers. That for me stayed true to this race. I always have like a second wind after the farmers. I think I need to go a little bit quicker on the farmer's carry. Every time I do it, I say that, and I do go a little bit quicker, but I think there's even more room to go a little bit quicker than I think.
Can we just debunk a semi-popular, or maybe bunk it, if you like it,
mm-hmm.
that the technique theory that I've seen So one of the guys, he didn't pass me, but he was next to me going the other way. He was ahead of me already. Was doing the technique that I've seen some people recommend, claiming it helps throw them forward. Basically, they swing the kettlebells. Now, the big thing with to me with farmer's carry is grip strength, because unless you're Sinead Bent who goes sprinting and then stops and then sprints again, most of us are either in a decent walk or a very slow jog. And therefore, grip strength is everything. Because as soon as you put it down, the amount of effort it takes to pick it back up again and the amount of time you lose completely counterbalances everything else. But some people are saying what will help you is if you start swinging them, because on the forward swing, it will push you forward. Whereas I'm thinking that's going to hurt my grip stamina so badly. Surely that can't be helpful.
Yeah, it's not. For your grip, that's going to be worse. And also, the further a weight is away from your center of mass, the harder your body has to work to stabilize yourself. And so if it's constantly in front of you, behind you, in front of you, behind you, your body is constantly having to counterbalance itself.
So you're giving your core a massive unnecessary workout.
Your core, your shoulders, your traps, everything.
So don't swing the kettlebells.
I personally wouldn't, no.
Unless you're racing me or Jude, in which case you should swing them a lot, because then we'll overtake you on the lunges. Well,
or the subsequent run.
Yeah,
because you'll be screwed.
So yes, so you are. So back to your lunges.
Yeah, lunges. I think it's my second 3 flat in a row. Lunges, I'm definitely better than how I've been performing the past couple of races. I think that's mainly subconscious of going unbroken on the wobbles makes up so much time. So I don't want to go in there completely screwed, which I wouldn't if I went a little bit quicker. So I think lunges is where I need to sort of break that mini plateau of 2 races. But yeah, so I definitely think I've got a 240 high, 250 low in me, but that was 3 minutes and that felt fine.
So what's a good Elite 15 lunge time?
A good Elite 15 is about 248.
So you think you ought to be mid Elite 15 lunges?
Yeah, like 250 low, something like that.
Okay.
And the lunges were okay, nothing special to report back really with that one.
And then you came into the wall balls where?
Did I come 7th?
I think it was 7th, yeah.
I think it was 7th into the wall balls. And I think it's the
well behind Isaac Sanderson.
Yeah, I think I was 18 reps behind Isaac Sanderson. I think I saw Austin Nazar. His counter was 15, 16 ahead of me. And I ended up doing those unbroken. And not a crazy time of 340. But yeah, I managed unbroken with only 3 no reps. So I'm surprised it wasn't a little bit quicker. I would have thought 330's low for unbroken with only 3 no reps. But I think maybe I just took a bit of time getting myself set up just to mentally prepare for that one. So wall balls again are my strong suit. I do a lot of training with 12 kilogram wall balls in large sets of like 40, 50, 60. And that really helps. And at that point in the race, I shout out Michael, because I just saw your TikTok and I do agree with it, in that what do you have to do after the wall balls? Nothing. Right. And he posted about it. He's like, what do you think about during the wall balls? Because he's done a couple unbroken as well. And it's true. So what do you have to do after?
What do you think about during the wall balls?
Yeah.
Do you want to know what I think about doing the wall balls?
I have my suspicions. Yeah.
I'm going to die. It's going to be right now. I can't do any more. And I should stop now.
But none of those has ever come true. You haven't died. You've always done more, and you didn't stop. So
no, it is a soul crushing experience, though.
I like them, but then again, there are people that say that about burpees, and I hate them. So
I love to hate them. I love the wall balls, but I hate them. Because I break 15 times and they make me miserable, and my dad gets worried when he sees how my breathing goes.
I think it is so cool that is the last station in a Hyrox. I think there's so much around 100 reps of wall balls at the end of a Hyrox race that just makes it iconic, for lack of a better word. It's just it's really cool end to the race. It wouldn't be as cool if there were 100 meters of burpee broad jumps. That would not be my thing. But trying to redirect this cat away from getting us demonetized. But yeah, please, we can't edit this episode. That was my race. But yeah, that I would not expect.
So you thought you were going to get 102, and
I thought an hour before the race that I wasn't even going to start. So for me, coming out with 58:21, I was just so incredibly happy with.
Yeah. And you didn't really know you were going in for a great time until the lunges?
Yeah, I looked down at my watch coming out the lunges, and I just thought, this couldn't be right. I'm on for like a sub-hour, which in reality I was on for better than that. But I was like, I'm on for a sub-hour, but that can't be right because I feel awful.
Right.
So I felt, the reason I brought up the coffees before is because the whole time I felt bloated. I got to the ski erg and I was like, if anyone's taking a picture of me, they're going to think something's wrong. Because I felt
that was hilariously daft. I mean, so the pictures of him after the race, he looks how he looks. Everything is muscle and flat, and he points at the picture of him with his top off after the race. He goes, "Look, see, I'm bloated. See, look, there I am. I'm bloated." And me and his mum are looking at it, and going, "I see a complete flat set of abs." What are you talking about?
Awful. Like, and then it makes sense because that night, 3 hours, 4 hours after the race,
we can't edit this. We can't edit whatever you're about to say.
No, not going into detail. 4 hours after the race, I was in bed.
Okay, good.
For a long time, having left the bed at some points to go somewhere for a long amount of time. I was in bed for a while, unable to move with lion's fur disease and mushroom. That's why I've always hated mushrooms, and I know why. Because it's poison. It screwed me. I hate it.
You and my brothers don't touch the fungus.
Yes, I had mushroom soup at the Christmas market, and then I had 3 shots of mushroom coffee leading up to the race, followed by 4 shots of whatever you brought me that made me feel awful. So that was my race.
I think though that I'm largely responsible for your win and your time though, because it was the lion's fur and the mushroom and the 47 shots of espresso that did it through.
Yeah,
it wasn't actually your training or ability.
But for me, it wasn't like, obviously the time was great and I didn't expect it at all. But for me, the biggest thing that I felt when I crossed the line was 2 hours ago, I didn't even think I was going to start the race. And so not only to finish it, but to finish it in under an hour and then to finish it as a PR. And then also to know I have so much left to give. If I wasn't injured the next day and ran it again, I would have gotten a minute quicker. Like, just thinking stuff like that, there's so much potential there. That, for me, when I crossed the line, was the biggest thing, not the time itself, but the circumstances that surrounded it. So, although today, right now, as it stands, is looking great, we're going to need to see someone about whatever's going on with me. Injury is really scary as somebody who's trying to be a full-time athlete. But yeah, I'm really, really hopeful that I'll be okay to go by March. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen there.
Cool. Well, that pretty much wraps up Vancouver. Just to mention that it was great to meet Vivian Tafuto at the airport.
Yeah. Her and Lauren Weeks set a women's pro world record by 16 seconds at the same venue that we were at. And Lauren was saying on her Instagram that she was going to go somewhere. She was doing an event. I suspected it was Vancouver, and I was right. Her and Vivian Tafuto set the world record of 53:40 to beat Jess Petro and Joanna Wettrick. So to then randomly bump into Vivian Tafuto at a taco restaurant in the airport was hilarious. And she was super nice. She's got like I'm assuming full-time job alongside with casually setting the world record and then has to go back to work and got 2 days off to come here, set a world record, then go back. Some of these athletes and what they do, not only what they do, but the context of their lives they do it with is just, incredible. But she was awesome. Did not expect a world record holder to be that sort of down to earth, but that was normal, just like everyone else.
Awesome. Okay, so that wraps up this weekend and this episode. So do you want to outro us into what's happening next week, Jude?
So next week we've got 6 interviews lined up, shorter interviews just because there's 6 of them. And we've got a bunch of people ranging from your dad to age group DECA, multiple time age group DECA world champion, and just a good variety of people and their first experiences of Hyrox, what their training looks like, and just some really cool insights into different athlete perspectives.
Cool. Thank you for that. Thank you all very much for listening. I've been Paul Reynolds.
I've been Jude Reynolds.
Speak to you soon.